Hello and welcome back to the Kick and Pete podcast. I am your host, the one and only Prince, man. We back with a special one, man. I got a special guest in the building, one of the homies, man. Got my homie T.O. in the building, man. Please join me in welcoming the big homie T.O. to the show. Welcome to the show, big dog.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, big dog.
I appreciate you for coming on, man. I appreciate you for stopping by, man, and having this conversation, man. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling real good, man. God is good, man. I'm blessed.
Good.
I feel like this is a conversation that needs to be had. This is a
Facts.
conversation that, believe it or not, it's a conversation that a lot of people do have, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
amongst themselves. Me and my guys, we have a lot of conversations like this as well. So,
Yeah.
and one of these conversations, bro, I'm always willing to talk about anytime, any day. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm ready, bro.
Facts. I appreciate you for joining me, man. So let me just give people a little bit of context, man. So I had made a repost on Facebook a couple days ago about it said something like black people hate everything about slavery except Christianity. So T.O. had made a comment, and we had a brief little conversation in the comments, and I was like, man, just come on the podcast, come on the show, so we could further expound on our thoughts and just have a positive dialogue between two different ideologies and see what we come out on the end, man. So I invited him on. He agreed to come on, man. So again, I appreciate you for coming on, big dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We gonna jump right into it though, man. We gonna just get a little background done. So I want to know, like what made you want to become a Christian? What made you want to dive into Christianity?
Well, believe it or not, man, I come from a Christian background, but I come from a Christian family. Like my mother, she's a devoted Christian. You know what I'm saying? Come from a Christian family, like die-hard Christian. Like there's no tolerance for it. You know what I'm saying? Like she grew up having to go to church every Sunday. I'm sorry, not just every Sunday, but every morning, except for Sunday. She had to get up 6 o'clock in the morning as a little girl, had to go to church. So that's how she was raised. And my father, the same thing. My father is a well-known pastor as well. So but funny enough, he come from a Muslim background. But his family, when he wanted to pursue Christianity, his family turned their back on him because he wanted to pursue Christianity. And so, but by him being, turned away from his family, God blessed him tremendously in his journey as a pastor, and all kind of doors opened up for him. So he was able to be very successful and establish himself, even though he had no support from his Muslim family. He was able to become a well-known, respected pastor. So that's just my background. You know what I'm saying? I come from a devoted deacon and my mother, and then a well-known, pastor on my father's side. So, but as far as me, how I dived into it, I wasn't really super religious growing up like that. You know what I'm saying? It just as a kid, you only know what you taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So your family teach you these things. They instill Christianity into you. So you just go with it because that's what your family does. That's what your mom and your parents teaching you. But you don't really know for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't really know for yourself. So I had my own doubts at one point. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of unanswered questions. And I answer to a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But eventually, you know what I'm saying, when God chooses to use somebody, it don't matter what you do. You can deny it all you want to. You can run from it. You can say, no, I ain't with that. I'm not trying to do that. If God want to use you, he's going to use you. So God found the way to, you know what I'm saying, to put his hands on me, bro, and open my eyes to certain things. And ever since then, God has been using me, bro. So, and again, I want to say, I'm not super religious. I'm not going to come on here and act like I'm super religious, but I'm super spiritual, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? With me, anything could be debatable. We can debate Jesus Christ. We can debate the Bible. We can debate, you know what I'm saying, anything in regards to that. But as far as God the Father, I know for a fact that he's real because I felt that power. You know what I'm saying? So everything else can be debated. Not saying that Jesus Christ is not real. I believe in Jesus too. But anything can be debatable with me except for the God the Father, because that, for myself, I experienced myself personally.
Right.
So I know. You know what I'm saying?
So would you say it was a set of particular like circumstances or conditions that made you want to take that deep dive into Christianity? Or would you say it was like a mixture, like passed down from parents as far as like heritage, and then life experiences and environment kind of led me to the Christian path? Would you say that would be the case, or what would you say would be the case? Was it one specific thing, or was it like a mixture or a combination of things?
Yeah, it was a certain set of events that happened within, I want to say, within like 2 weeks. Like God was showing me different things, and different things was happening in my life within a 2 week span, until to lead me for me to understand what he was going to show me on, you know what I'm saying, on August 12th. I'm sorry, April 12th, 2010. So that's when
Mm,
God revealed himself to me, and I had like a spiritual encounter. You know what I'm saying,
mm,
with God. And so, but prior to that spiritual encounter, like I said, it was different things that God was showing me that led up to that for me to understand what he was going to show me on
right,
April 12th, 2010.
right. But I asked you that because it's 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 really a lot of people. A lot of people actually have like the same. When you peel everything back and you boil everything down to the simplest form, a lot of people have the same reasoning as far as why they seek religion. And if you, like I said, if you peel it back far enough, if you take away all the layers, if you take away all the environmental stuff or the top layer stuff, when you boil it all the way down to its basis, it's always out of a place of fear. People usually seek religion out of a place of fear. Either some circumstances happen in their life where they say, I don't want to necessarily go down this path, or they've seen some things, or they came into some new information. But it's all usually based, and I'm not saying it's the case for most people. I mean, for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but for the
Right.
most part, most people, when you generally speaking, when you boil it all down, they seek religion
Yeah.
out of a place of fear.
Right.
And when you think
I can
about
agree
it,
with that.
when you think about it, just go like, what is mankind's greatest fear? I would say it's mankind tends to fear the unknown most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like people have
Mm-hmm.
an innate human nature to fear the unknown. And what's
Mm-hmm.
mankind's biggest unknown is death. It's the fear of death. So in turn, mankind's greatest fear is death. So what does religion do? Religion realizes this. So they jump in and say, they realize that if you can control death, then you can control mankind. So what do? What does religion do? They go and take God and they bring him on earth. They make him Jesus. They put him down here on earth. They make him do all this wonderful stuff, do all these wonderful miracles, grant out and say all these wise words. And then what they do? They kill him. They kill him off. But they bring him back. They bring him back and say, oh, look, see, if you follow and do what we say, you granted eternal life, which is a fallacy in itself because this life in general is not eternal. The soul is eternal, but life is not eternal. So that in itself is a fallacy in itself. But that's what they do. They say, look, we grant you eternal life now. You go to heaven, you can have a great life. But if you disobey us, you going to hell and damnation for all eternity, torture for all eternity. So it's all a construct that's based in fear for the most part. So that's why I wanted to ask you that question, because a lot of people come to grasp with religion through the basis of fear, whether they realize it or not. It could be, oh man, I just went through this experience, or man, I went through this experience, and they may perceive it a different way. But like I said, when you boil it all back and when you boil it all down, at the basis of it, it comes from a place of fear, of
And
not
so you
knowing.
think, and when you say them, and in terms of controlling us, are you speaking of the Europeans, or who exactly are you referring to?
I'm speaking of the creators of religion,
Okay.
in general. I think from its conception, I think it may, and then not even necessarily, but I'll be willing to grant it that maybe in its inception that it was created, you know what I'm saying, from a good place. But since its inception into mankind, it's been used to completely remove people from actual spirituality. It contradicts actual spirituality in every facet of religion, in my personal
Elaborate.
opinion.
Elaborate. Give me an example.
So I mean, just in the contradictions, I mean, you could just jump through so many contradictions. You could just jump through the concept of hell. You could just jump through all the different contradictions in the Bible about God. They portray God as all loving, all knowing, omnipotent, and omnipresent being, but then they also portray him as a wrathful, jealous, vengeful God that'll commit murder at the drop of a hat. And that's a complete contradiction of what spirituality and what God actually is. God is actually only unconditional love. So anything that contradicts unconditional love is a contradiction of what God actually is. And there's plenty of stories in the Bible that contradicts and goes opposite of what unconditional love is.
Yeah, but really, when you see God being vengeful and God committing murder, is usually against evil. You know what I'm saying? Which the Bible
Mm.
speaks on. Yeah, and the Bible speaks on taking that type of action towards evil and wickedness. because God despised wickedness. You know what I'm saying? That's why if you listen, if you read the Bible and it speaks on when the first sin was created, when Adam and Eve so-called ate the apple that God, you know what I'm saying, told them not to eat. He told, you know what I'm saying, he was angry with them, and he told them what would, you know what I'm saying, what would happen in regards to them eating that apple, as to, and it also leads to one of the examples of Eve eating the apple was, that's why women have periods. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Bible speaks on a woman bleeding from her body. You know what I'm saying? Because of her inequities. You know what I'm saying? Her transgressions doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, and even when the story of Cain and Abel, and even the story of even to go a little further, when man started committing, when God started witnessing that man was creating continuous sin on the earth, and he flooded the earth. You know what I'm saying? So God is a loving God, but he has no tolerance for wickedness and evil. But I do want to ask you one question though, bro.
But before you ask me that though, let me respond to that though real quick, because that's what I mean by the contradiction. Like how you can't be unconditional love and be vengeful and wrathful. Those two things don't mix. They complete contradictions. You can't have unconditional love for something, but then be vengeful and wrathful towards it. Like those two don't mix. That's not what unconditional love is.
Though. I disagree though, bro. Because
so what's your definition of unconditional love then?
But I'm saying, say as a father with their kids, a father love his kids unconditionally.
Would you kill him?
If the kids acting up, is the father not gonna spank his kids?
Spanking the kid,
not gonna punish his kids, bro?
Punishing the kid, spanking the kid, and murdering them, and sentencing the kid to eternal damnation is not the same thing, bro. That ain't the same thing. Like discipline, having boundaries, rules, and discipline is fair. That's rooted in unconditional love. But when you're talking about taking from somebody, that's not unconditional love. When we talking about taking somebody's life, taking their freedom, taking their rights, taking their right to bodily autonomy, that's not unconditional love, bro. That's the exact opposite of it. Unconditional love is loving somebody regardless of their transgressions. That's what the word, that's where the unconditional come in, that regardless of what you do, I'm going to always love you, no matter what you do. And there's nothing that you can do that will make my love for you diminish. But being wrathful and vengeful and murdering somebody is not a form of unconditional love, bro. So that's the only pushback, a contradiction I got on it, though.
I respect that, but it has been times in the Bible where, you know what I'm saying, God has showed unconditional love to people, like the story of Saul, who later became Paul in the Bible. Saul was someone who persecuted Christians. He murdered people for being Christians until God revealed himself to him, and he saw that God was the only way. And so he changed his life, and he became one of God's, you know what I'm saying, best prophets. You know what I'm saying? And God spared him, even though he murdered so many people for being Christian. God spared him and took favor to him, and God redeemed him, and God was able to, and Paul was able to, you know what I'm saying, use the rest of his life, you know what I'm saying, speaking about God and trying to bring Christians to God. But I do want to ask you a question though, bro, before we get really deep into the conversation. At the very basic level, I had asked you this on Facebook, so I wanted to get your answer. Like, do you believe in, you know, spirits or ghosts or paranormal activity or anything like that?
So I believe in spirit. I believe in spirits. I don't necessarily believe in paranormal activity. I don't call it paranormal activity. If you mean as far as like haunting, then no, I don't believe in that type of shit. If you mean like astral projection, remote viewing, shit like that, that's been actually documented and proven, 1,000%. I believe in spirits because it's a spirit realm. Everything in existence has a spirit. Everything that's animated, that moves, that has vitality, that lives and breathes, has spirit. Humans, animals, plants. So everything is engulfed in spirit, but not everything necessarily has a soul. Human beings, we have souls. Animals and stuff like that, they don't have souls, they have spirits. So it's two different things, but I definitely believe in spirits and God and like I said, if you mean like paranormal stuff as far as like astral projection and remote viewing, that type of stuff, 1,000%. The spirit realm, of course. But if you mean like demons, haunted houses, and people tapping on your window, shit like that, nah, not at all, bro.
Okay, but you say you did. If I heard you correct, I heard you did say you do believe in God. Was that correct?
1,000%, 100%. Just not the God of faith, of religion. Because that God is completely based off of belief and it's not rooted in nothing that's actually tangible that people can actually go research and go figure out. I believe in God from a spiritual aspect, that God is not a person in the sky that's a father, that's even a man necessarily, that a person that's in the sky that's grand wishes and like doing good stuff in the Bible, but also doing bad stuff in the Bible. I don't view God in that manner because that's not the way God is actually running the universe. God is an energy, the divine energy from which all energy in the universe stems from. See, everything around us is energy. When you break everything down to the simplest form at the subatomic level, it's all broken down into protons, neutrons, and electrons. When you break those down, those are all literally just light energy vibrating and moving at a specific frequency. It goes back to science. E equals MC squared. Energy is matter moving at a specific speed and a specific frequency. So all this shit is really just energy, but it comes from a singular source, a singular energetic source, which is God, which is what God is. So I believe that is God.
So in reality, you more believe in science, what science can prove, rather than the faith of being believing in a spiritual being.
Right. See, I don't deal in belief. I deal in knowing. I know.
Okay, so you believe in facts.
100%.
Facts of what can, okay, which most scientists do believe in. So I mean I respect that opinion. But going back to you saying you don't believe in like hauntings and things like that.
No.
Those have been documented though, bro. Like it's all over the
allegedly,
world.
Though.
People have these,
allegedly.
I mean,
but that's what I'm saying though. I believe in it as far as like your spirit could come out of your body and move around in different places. So if people saying they seen spirits in that way, then I could concede that and agree to that. But if you mean like haunting and being like mean to people and scaring them out of like in that aspect, no. But can you see like is there a way you can maybe see a spirit? Maybe possibly, because you can spirit project, you can astral project. So I wouldn't.
But that's what be what a demon and an angel is. It's nothing but a spirit.
Nah.
That's a spirit, bro.
A demon is a negative emotion, bro, that manifests itself. A demon is nothing but a negative emotion that manifests itself in a physical form, in the mental space, and whatever's created in the mental projects itself onto the physical. So demons ain't nothing that's a real thing. That's externalized. They are internalized. Not saying that they aren't necessarily real, but not real in a way that most people think. They not created from an outside source that God made, and angels went bad and went against God and rebelled, and that's what demons are. Demons are negative emotions that take over people, that manifest from the mental plane over into the physical plane, but not necessarily in a way that you would think. So, I mean, it just all depends on the perception that you give.
Right, but like you said, we all have a spirit, right? As human beings,
we all have a spirit. Yeah.
So within the body ain't nothing but flesh. So the body that can deteriorate. You know what I'm saying? The body can die. The body can get sick. The body can be ill. But the spirit is what can never die. That's what can go on and on. Like you said, it's the energy. The spirit that can never die. So and the spirit can't leave the body. So I don't know why it would be far fetched for someone to believe that if a spirit leaves the body, that can still roam the earth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what a demon is, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Or an angel or a demon, regardless. Because because some people don't, I'm saying, whether you want to believe it or not, you know what I'm saying, it's principalities of this world that are in war with each other, good versus evil. I mean, that's the same reason why
that depends on your perception, though.
Right? I understand. But it's the same reason why you have some people who worship darkness. They worship evil shit. They worship the Satan, and you have some people that worship God. That's the oldest war that ever existed was the war against good and evil, against those principalities and powers. You know what I'm saying? So us as human beings, we all have a spirit. So once that spirit leaves, you know what I'm saying, it has to go somewhere. And so, if we go back to the Bible, those spirits who was not of God, those evil spirits, they look for places to be once worshipped again. Especially if we're talking about, I don't know if you in tune with Nephilim. I don't know if you heard of the word Nephilim.
I've heard about it.
The giants. The giants that once roamed the earth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was breeding with the they was fallen angels who breed with human beings on the earth, and they created these Nephilim spirits, these giants. And so these giants that God flooded the earth to remove the giants from the earth, these are hybrid beings. They spirits cannot go to either heaven or hell. So these spirits roam the earth looking for other bodies, other entities to inhabitate so they can feel worshipped again. Because these were giants who roamed the earth. And so all the people that was on the earth worshiped these giants. These giants was supposed to be so intelligent beings. They were supposed to be super tall. And so these people, so these spirits, they wander the earth looking for other entities to inhabitate so they can feel worship again. That's why you have some of these celebrities who have they inhabit some of these spirits who get worshipped. Or you have people who create statues, and these statues get worshipped because people feel like these statues have power. All these are spirits, bro. You know what I'm saying? You have some good spirits, you have some evil spirits, but spirits can never die. And so us as human beings, you know what I'm saying, the spiritual world is so mysterious, we would never fully understand in the human form what it is as on a full scale. We can only try to interpret and try our best to understand, but the spiritual world is so mysterious, bro. We can never, as human beings, have a definite answer as to what goes on in the spiritual world. But everybody has entitled to their own opinion. You know what I'm saying? I have mine, you have yours, respectfully. But on a basic level, I think as human beings, we should know, especially from so many documented cases around the world, that spirits are real, hauntings, demons, those should be considered as real at this point, because if you have
But I don't see how you can equate the two, though. I don't see how you can equate the two. Just because spirits real, that mean angels and demons is real. That would mean that the perception of God, the religious perception of God, is the real perception of God, and that's known to not be the case. So, in my professional opinion, from the research that I've done, you know what I'm saying? That would the only way those type of angels or demons would be real to prove your case is if the concept of what God actually is real. And I'm saying that the fact that that God not real automatically means that version of angels and demons that you talking about ain't necessarily really the case. Those are emotions that arrive from inside of you. You are in control of all of this shit. You create and control your own demons. So it ain't nothing that's externalized that can control you. You are the creator of those and the curator of those demons yourself, not no external force. So it's just
the only reason why I say that the only reason why I would say that it's some truth to it as far as like angels and demons, because if something continues to happen across the world in different cases all over the world, then it has to be true. It has to have some truth to it. You can't say that all these people
it's a lot of lies,
around
bro.
the world, bro, is making bro. No, I'm saying that you can't say that all these people are,
If everybody been tricked and being propagandized, then yes, you can necessarily yes, you can if everybody being lied to, bro.
But I'm saying,
so let me ask you this then. So are the demons in hell? Are the demons in hell right now?
Bro, like I said, on a human aspect, we can't really say for a definite answer what happens in the spiritual world. All I can say is
so hell is the spiritual world?
It's one, hell is the spiritual world, and heaven is the spiritual world. Depending on where the spirit goes, depending on where the spirit goes is not up to us. You know what I'm saying? Because we not a godly being, bro.
So
you know what I'm saying? We not the
spirits
author of spirits.
So spirits can go to hell, is what you're saying?
Yes, bro. Just like spirits can go to heaven. But look, but the
spirits can't go to heaven,
bro. But the point I'm driving, though, you have people who have experienced paranormal activity, hauntings, and their own personal experience, and have testified, tears, emotion, and everything, all across the world, bro.
I believe that they believe it, but that don't necessarily mean that's the case, though, bro. I done seen people be dead sure of some shit and would bet their life on it and be wrong, and they thought they seen some shit, and then be like, that ain't necessarily, and then you show them like, damn, I could have sworn that that could be the case for a lot of people, because like I said, you would have to be able to explain away the country. Yes, if everybody been tricked and indoctrinated, bro,
all over the world.
Because everybody has a fear of death. Everybody has a false perception of what death actually is and what happens during the death process. So everybody has a natural fear of death. So they take that control of death and they make you, and it attracts you in, because nobody really want to die because they don't know what happens after death. So religion takes that and then manipulates it, and it brings in the masses in crazy numbers. When if you just do the research, you would know that, oh shit, the soul never dies anyway. The soul lives on. You in control of this life, not no external force. You are God. You are a fraction or a fractal of the original source of God. We are all gods having a subjective human experience on earth, not the other way around. Not we separate from God and God is looking down judging us. We judge ourselves when we die, when we pass away. When we going through the reincarnation process and we going through the life review process, it's not God judging us or an external force judging us. It's us judging us. We judging ourselves based off the life that we live. And if it's too much to bear as far as guilt, if you got too much regret, if you feel like you done too much fucked up shit, if you feel like you got too much unfinished business, you put yourself back into the reincarnation process and reincarnate in life, and you do life all over again. It's not an external force. It don't necessarily work like that. It ain't God looking down judging. It's you judging. You are God. You are a fractal of the Creator. But it's about knowing that. But, it's about knowing that, though, bro.
I respect your point, but you can't turn down or to minimize the testimonies of people who not even religious, who not even, you know what I'm saying, they might not even be religious. They're not even thinking about what happens after death. They just minding their own business, trying to live in their home, and some paranormal activity happens, bro. To the point where it's so bad they have to move out. You can't say that's just emotion, bro. And this is many, many cases, bro. Like across the world. You can't say all these people are just acting out of emotion or they're just acting out of fear of death. These people have cried. They have moved. They have moved out of their house, bro. They have been emotionally traumatized and have never been the same due to, you know what I'm saying, some haunting or some paranormal activity that they experienced. And it's not just one. Maybe if it was 1, 2, or 3 people, bro, maybe. But it's hundreds of thousands of cases of paranormal activity going around.
Shit, you probably can't more say than that. Shit.
Yeah, so I'm saying probably more than that, bro. So if it happened that many times, it has to be some truth to spirits roaming the earth, or, you know what I'm saying, some demonic forces, or and even not demonic. Sometimes it's some situations where, you know what I'm saying, it's some miracles happen that people say, man, I saw an angel or something miracle just happened. I can't even explain it, or I saw an angel or whatever. Yeah. It haven't even situations where, not to you know what I'm saying, going a different route, but it just came to my mind. It's not like I have seen so many different stories of it's been a house fire or a car burning down. Yeah. Everything burned down but the Bible. I just seen one 2 weeks ago where a house burned down. It was a TV next to the Bible. The TV completely burned down, but the Bible isn't. And I have seen like maybe 4 or 5 different stories of a car fire or a house fire where everything is burnt except for the Holy Bible, bro. And you can look it up, bro. You can Google it. But like that.
But again, that's the perception that people choose to put on it, though. I'm pretty sure it was a bunch of shit in the house that didn't get burnt too, though. You see what I'm saying? But it's all, like I said. But I'm not saying I'm not saying you wrong as far as no. I'm not saying you wrong though as far as like people seeing shit, bro, and people seeing spirits. But what I am saying is that when those things occur, the fact that people have a certain perception about angels, about demons, about religion, when they see it, they automatically attribute it to that instead of attributing it to a spiritual thing. Like you create that shit yourself. Like those are physical projections of your mental emotions. So when you seeing that shadowy figure in the blaze of the fire, that's not an external shadowy figure that's just going around doing shit. That's you projecting that. That's you giving your mental energy to project that into the physical realm. That wouldn't exist if you wasn't giving that the life that you giving it, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's nothing. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying that it's not an external thing that you ain't in control of, that just happened to you. It ain't happening to you. You are making it happen, is what I'm saying. So when you see that shit, oh my God, it was an angel that saved me. It could have been a spirit that led you and showed you out the way, but you attribute it to an angel because of your perception about religion, what you've probably just subconsciously have built into your mind, that you've been subconsciously indoctrinated to think, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it ain't the case. I'm saying that the perception that it's been given is a religious thing.
Let me get some context then. Like, so how did you get to this point? Did you always have this ideology about God?
Hell no, not at all, bro.
Did something happen, or did something happen in your life to the point where it's like, nah, I don't believe that no more? Like let me get some context about how you came.
So mine started with like I had a real bad health scare like maybe 2 years ago. I had like a real bad kidney stone. So from there, I was looking into just getting healthy. Like, damn, what am I eating? What should I start eating different? Should I start doing this different? And then it took me down a rabbit hole of damn, they poisoning the food. They doing this to the food. This shit is unhealthy. This shit is really meant to kill you. This is what's giving you cancer. This is why so many people got diabetes. So it led me down that path first. And from there, it led me down the path of, well, damn, if all this is happening, let me try to make sure I'm getting right with God. Let me make sure that my spiritual, you know what I'm saying, my spiritual and everything is aligned. So I dove deep into religion. I dove deep into Christianity. I did crazy research about the basis of it, the start of it, a bunch of scriptures, and I went on to Islam. I went on to Judaism. I studied a little bit of Buddhism. So I just went down the rabbit hole of just religion, just seeking that connection with God. It may have been out of fear, I would say. Mine started off with fear because, like I said, started with a health scare. So same way I came into it, from a fear base and just trying to just get right with God out of fear of not wanting a certain thing to happen. So in researching different religions, I just came up with all of these contradictions. Okay, so if this is the case, then why this? If God loves everybody, then why would this happen? If this was the case, then why would this happen? If God loves his children and wants his children to be happy, why would he create a place of hell just in case? Why would it be a just in case if you all powerful? Why would you need a just in case? So it led me down that type of rabbit hole. And then I started looking into actual spirituality, the laws of the universe, the laws of nature, vibration, frequency. And that led me into quantum physics, quantum mechanics, the science. Science explains God in the proper way, in my personal opinion. That's why a lot of people say scientists don't believe in God, but it's actually not the case. They don't believe in the religious concept of God. But if you ask a scientist if they believe that God is a frequency, is an energy from which all energy stems from, a lot of them probably wouldn't disagree with you. But that's where it kind of led me to the spiritual aspect part. What am I doing wrong? How do I get in tune with nature? How do I get my body right? How do I get my circadian rhythm back together? So it started from that spiritual aspect, and then it led me down the path of, okay, damn, the universal laws say this. That makes sense. I can see that in nature. Because science says for it to be a proven fact, it has to be exemplified in nature. And science says that the universal law of correspondence, as above, and it's even in the Bible, as above, so below, as within, so without. What's done on the macro is also done on the micro, which means life in the universe is a mirror. You can always see certain aspect of life exemplified on a large scale and on a smaller scale. So me just looking into the universal laws and seeing that they are living proof of what God actually is and how to live within them, and seeing what's done, okay, this don't make sense. It only makes sense spiritually, because if this is the case, I go look at it and I study it, and if I can find other examples that back this spiritual claim, then why would I have any premises to, you know what I'm saying, to disbelieve in what I'm being shown that's the actual fact? So it's like, how do I wanted to believe in the concept that God was this dude, that was this almighty father, but I had no actual context to believe that. Well, everything in science points to God as an energy. All electrons in existence, everything has electrons. Like I said, go back to science, everything broken down, our matter broken down is atoms. Inside those atoms are electrons. Every single electron in existence, in this camera, in this hat, in our skin, every single electron in existence is completely identical, bro. Completely identical. And not only are they completely identical, but they come from a singular electron, which means what? We all connected. All of this shit is the same. All of this shit is energy, and it comes from a singular energetic source, which is God.
It's funny though. It's funny that how you refer to science though. It's funny though, because scientists and science, these are the same people who said, "Oh yeah, we evolved from everything evolved from a single cell organism." This is the same science that say, "Oh, we as human beings evolved from monkeys." So science, I mean, yeah,
but those is all theories though. Those are the single cell. The single cell theory is a theory. That's not actually a scientific proven fact. And evolution doesn't necessarily claim that man evolved from apes. That's a common misconception. Science claims that, and I don't necessarily even agree with the theory of evolution. I actually disagree with it. But science don't say that man evolved from monkey. They say that man share a common ancestor with monkey. So that's two different things. But I also completely disagree with it.
They don't say it no more. But they used to. That was a theory.
It was a theory at one point. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this is a science. But this is the same science you're referring to as to try to explain, the energy and God. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, science changes all the time because us as humans, we try to understand. We so curious. We try to understand the world and the earth so much that we test and test and test and come up with different theories, come up with different hypotheses, come up with different results. But at the end of the day, it's always changing because we just in human form, and then some things cannot be proven by science, bro. If
Like
we
what?
talking
Though?
about
Like what specifically? What specifically can't be proven by science?
spirits, bro, spirits for one.
Spirits
The
have been
spiritual
proven by
aspect
science, though.
cannot be proven by science.
It's already have been proven that we all, because spirit is energy. We all are literally energy. Your
But that's just one
vitality,
piece of it.
what animates you, what makes you move around and be able to talk and have energy to move, that's spirit. Science 100%
Yeah.
back that, bro.
But that's one piece of it, though. We know a spirit is the energy, but we know. But we science can't prove what happens, science can't prove where a spirit goes when it leaves the body.
The spirit
Science
is the
can't prove
energy.
how
The
does a
energy,
spirit form.
it do though, bro. Not
Yeah.
science in particular, but spirituality does. If you dive into spirituality, as far as not the religious aspect, but if you go study the teachings of even of Buddhism, people think that Buddhism is a religion, but it's not necessarily religion. It's a non-theological religion, which means it don't necessarily worship a God. It acknowledges God, but it doesn't necessarily worship God. It's a teachings of how to live life, what to expect, and how to move and journey through the afterlife. It's a complete step-by-step process of how to move and what to expect when you pass away and when you leave this earth. And a lot of studies and a lot of tests has been done as far as what happens to the body when you pass away. It's been scientific proof and shown that you can actually see the soul leaving the body under certain circumstances in certain people. So you just got to dive. It's spirituality explains it. Science may not explain it, but when you dive into real ancient spirituality, because religion is only 3,000-4,000 years old, spirituality is hundreds of thousands of years old, and you can go research that from top to bottom, and it explains and maps and lines all of that shit out step by step. And not only that, but that spirituality that's thousands of years old, that predates religion, it lines up perfectly with science. It lines up perfectly with frequency, vibration, affirmations. It lines up perfectly with all that and explains it all. Religion is the only thing that contradicts that. So it explained it, bro. It's just that you got to go research the spirituality, the religious, and that's why religion is so. That's why it's so fucking, bro. That's why it's so mesmerizing, because they say the best lies have a little bit of truth mixed in them. So that's what religion do. It takes a lot of truth and a lot of symbolism, and it mixes it in with the spirituality. So when you hear some things and it resonate with you, you be like, damn, no, that's it. But it's a twisted form of what the truth actually is. It ain't necessarily giving you the whole truth. It's giving you a portion of it or a portion of symbolism of it, and not even explaining it in its truest context. Like the Bible has been translated and retranslated so many times, you can't even translate certain words. It was translated from Hebrew first, from Hebrew to Greek, and then from Greek to English. It's so many Hebrew and Greek words that we don't even share in the English language. That wasn't even the letter J in the Hebrew language until I think like the 1500s. So translations can be misread all the time. That happens all the time. So you got to go back. You got to go back to its simplest form, to actual spirituality, what they were saying hundreds of thousands of years ago. Because niggas been dying for 100, 300, 400,000. Niggas ain't just started dying 3,000 years ago. So where are all the people that died 100,000 years ago? Because it's safe to get into heaven through Christianity, you got to acknowledge Jesus as your Lord and Savior. What about the nigga that died the day before Jesus was born? You see what I'm saying? Like, what's up with him? He just shot it. Like, he just missed it, though, huh? Like, you see what I'm saying, though? He just missed the ball. He like, damn, now I'm fucked up.
But that's possibly where the spirit that roam the earth is at. That's why, like, just how you just made that point. Like, what happened to that spirit who before Jesus Christ? That's probably why we see haunches around the world, bro. Because it's unrest spirits. It's spirits that had nowhere to go, ain't go to heaven or hell, bro. It's spirits that still roam the earth right now. That's why you had those super paranormal activities, bro.
But when the body dies, the spirit leaves, bro. The spirit don't stay in the physical realm. It goes into the metaphysical realm. It doesn't exist no more. It's now you back to your soul. It's like when you die and you lose your physical body, you lose your spirit too. Your spirit and your soul not the same thing. So when the body goes, the spirit goes too. That's why when you dream and when you astral project, you look like your physical self. You look like when you have a dream, you don't look like nobody else. You look like T.O. in your dreams, right? Everybody look like
Right.
themselves in their dreams because the spirit is the metaphysical version of the physical body. This
Right. But I have to
physical
disagree
body
with it. I have to
has a
disagree.
spiritual side, bro. And when you pass away, that energy, along with the energy of this body, leaves and you go back into consciousness. You go back to the soul. The soul and the spirit, bro, are not the same thing.
I have to disagree with that statement, bro. The spirit and the soul is the same thing, bro.
Nah.
It is another. People call it, bro. People call it what they want to call it, bro. But it's the same thing. They may have they have a different name for the spirit or whatever. The spirit, the soul, but it's all the same, bro. It's all the same. Spirit and the soul is all the same.
So you would say animals have a soul then?
Animals have a soul, bro.
So
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so in order for animals to have a soul, animals would have to have consciousness. Consciousness is being aware that you are aware. Wait, that's what I'm saying. They conscious as far as up and alive and moving, but consciousness, spiritual consciousness, is being aware that you are aware. Animals don't have that sort of consciousness. Animals aren't aware that they are aware. Animals are just basic animal and nature instincts. They have consciousness, they have vitality, they have spirit, but they not aware that they are aware. They're not aware that they are a soulful being. You say what?
How can you say that? How can you say that an animal is not aware that they are aware? How can you say that?
Because if you just study nature and you just study animals, you can see that how they live their life based off of how they move around through their every average everyday life, that they're not conscious of their consciousness.
I would highly disagree with that, bro. I would say that.
So give me an example of how you would see. Give me an example of how you would be like, okay, that sheep that just passed was like, oh my God, thank God. What have you ever seen an animal be like, oh my God, thank the Lord, or thank my spirit?
I would say that an animal is very aware, because when an animal, if you ever seen that an animal knows he's about to die or feel like he's about to be attacked, you can see the demeanor of that animal change. You can see a fear in an animal. That lets you know that that animal is aware. They know what's going on. If you put an animal or a dog, for example, at the edge of a cliff, that dog ain't just finna just go jump off the damn cliff. That animal gonna back up and he's gonna try to avoid anything he can do to get off that cliff. That's awareness, bro.
But you know what that's called, though? Bro. Right, but that's what I'm saying. But the consciousness that I'm speaking about and the awareness that you're talking about is two different things. What you're describing is animal instinct, basic human nature. Basic, it ain't even just human nature. It's just basic nature. When you're born with a set of chakras from your root chakra all the way to your crown chakra. The root chakra is basic animal instincts to want to eat, to want to procreate and have sex, to want to self-preserve, and to want to protect your livelihood. Those are basic animal instincts. So animals have natural biological instincts to self-preserve. Everybody has that. You're born with the natural instincts built into your nervous system to preserve the self. So them not wanting to die doesn't mean that they are aware.
Okay, I get
aware. It just means that they just acting on their basic natural animal instincts.
I give you a better example. For example, it's a story of a dog owner, a dog that was very attached to his dog. The owner ended up passing away. The owner gets buried, but the dog goes and visits this owner's gravesite every day. He lays there all day at his owner's gravesite. You want to think that's awareness? I don't think that's consciousness, bro.
Nah, that's, you know what that is?
That's not human instinct. That's not human instinct, though, bro.
It's not human instinct, but it's instinct. That dog loved that human owner. That's an emotion. Emotions are natural biological instincts. You naturally, by human not human because I only just by naturally by your nervous system, you have the capacity to love. Everybody has a capacity. Every living, breathing thing has a capacity for love, fear, all of that type of shit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are aware of consciousness and awareness. Those are just still physical bodies, that physical things that you physically feel.
But it'd be different, right?
It's aware of awareness.
Right. It'd be different though, right? If the dog wept. If the dog wept, then I can understand what you're saying. If the dog just wept and cried because it's owner wasn't there no more, which all dogs do. If an owner leave the house, the dog be crying and crying and crying. That's that's emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
what you're referring to. But if a dog knows that, man, my owner just passed, let me go to the grave site. I miss my owner so much. Let me lay on his grave where he was buried. That's a little deeper, bro, than just
but that's
emotional.
basic animal. The dog can clearly smell the owner, know where the owner is at, because dogs have 50 times the smell of humans. Like I'm saying, it all goes back to human nature. Now, had the dog went to the gravesite, put his head down every day and pray for 5 minutes and then lift his head up and then do the same ritual and then walk away, then we'll have a better argument. Then we'll probably be in the same realm. But the dog just going there and doing that could be based off of, like I said, the love, the emotional damage that the dog is feeling. The dog got memory sense, so we can sniff out the owner from 5 to 10 miles away, wherever he at. So they go and then dogs can feel emotion. They can feel sadness, but that doesn't mean that they are aware of awareness, bro. That's two different things. So everything don't have a soul, bro. Everything has spirit. Everything has vitality. Everything has animation. Everything takes and consumes energy, has spirit. But everything don't have a soul. Everything can't sit back and contemplate, damn, what was that? Is free will a thing? You think chickens have a conversation amongst themselves about, damn, so is free will a thing? Is it all God? Like, no, bro, they not aware of that shit, bro. And they not meant to be.
That's funny, though.
They not meant to be. They here to fulfill a specific purpose, bro.
I respect that. Let me give you some context about...
Let me ask you another question though before you get into that. So do you question your beliefs at all? Like have you went down that rabbit hole of this kind of don't make a little bitty sense, bro?
Absolutely I have. Absolutely I have, bro. I had all of the same questions. Like I said, I wasn't at this point that I'm at right now. I wasn't ever on the spiritual journey at first, bro. In fact, you know what I'm saying, I had my doubts because for a lot of the same reasons why you do. A lot of stuff don't make sense. A lot of stuff is contradictory. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. And just like contradictions and contradictories can, you know, sometimes that's in result of mistranslation, like we spoke about, because the Bible's been translated so many times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books that have been missing because the only Bible that really has all of the books is the original Bible that's found in Ethiopia. They have all the books in the original Ethiopian Bible. Yeah. But go back to your question. Yeah, bro, I had a lot of doubts, bro, because a lot of stuff wasn't making sense. And so I never really took or wanted to dive into the spiritual journey, bro. I was just living my life just doing me. I was trying to be a rapper, bro. I was trying to, you know what I'm saying, to be the next biggest rapper, bro. That was my thing. I wasn't thinking about, you know what I'm saying, or God in that aspect. I only knew God of what my parents told me, bro.
Right.
I only followed Jesus Christ because my parents followed Jesus Christ, and they was instilling that onto us. Right. But what happened with me is back in 2010, my homie Lil John, right? He had called me over, right? And it's crazy how we even linked up, but that's a whole different story. But long story short, my homie had called me over one day. He called me like, bro, you got to come to the crib, bro. You got to watch this shit, bro. I got this DVD, bro. I need you to check it out. And I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I came through. I came through. I went over there, bro. The DVD he wanted me to see was The Truth About Hip Hop with Pastor Craig David. I don't know if have you heard of it?
I think I heard of it. I ain't seen it, but I did hear about it going around back around that time.
Pastor Craig Lewis. You know what I'm saying? And basically in the DVD, he was just explaining like the industry and the truth about hip hop, how, you know, these music executives and these music companies, they perform rituals. You know what I'm saying? They put spells on music. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They conjure up spirits in order to become famous. It spoke about one of the wickedest men on earth, Aleister Crowley, how he wrote the book 666 on how to summon one of these spirits in order to get you famous. He spoke about doing different rituals that you can do to conjure up a spirit to give you a talent and to lift you up to be famous. And so he was so in the DVD, The Truth About Hip Hop, Pastor Craig Lewis is breaking down different artists and breaking down different symbology that these artists was displaying in their music and in their videos that was all satanic. And so with that opened my eyes to like, damn, I ain't even realized like not everybody's worshiping the same God. Like you got some people who really worship the devil. They really worship the other side. So through that opened my eyes right there. And so from that point, I was having a spiritual battle, bro. I was having a spiritual battle. I just kept hearing like different voices, like just telling me to like, like F God and forget God and weird voices, bro. Just basically telling me to go against God after I watched that DVD, which was hella weird. So other events led up, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, everything happened for a 2-week period. But long story short, what happened one day, bro, I was in school, downtown Chicago, bro, at Columbia College. And so I was in class, bro. I was in my music engineering class. And this is the class that I was looking forward to, bro, because now I took this class for a couple weeks now. The teacher's finally trying to get into the meat and potatoes of the class, like how to mix and how to engineer, you know what I'm saying, mix the music, because that was my passion, music. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm ready. Bro, but on this day, bro, for some reason, I could not focus, bro. I could not focus, and to the point where I'm in this bitch for biting my neck. I'm anxious as fuck. I'm having an anxiety attack for some reason, bro, and I have no idea why. Ain't nothing wrong. I ain't got no stress in my life. Nothing is going on, bro. In fact, I'm so eager to learn this information, but for some reason on this day I can't focus, bro. So I'm in this bitch. And my anxiety is so bad to the point where I have to leave the class. I bullshit you not. I left the class early, bro. And on my way leaving, like I said, I missed out some point. You know what I'm saying? It's in my book. I wrote a book, bro. I got a book on Amazon right now that tells my story. Also speaks of my brother that also passed away, his own spiritual encounter as well, and how our stories align. And it talks about my purpose on the earth and God showing me what He showed me and the reason why I'm born in today. But anyway, I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, move along. But this day, bro, while I'm leaving the class, I'm driving, bro, and this is why I had my spiritual encounter, bro. I'm driving, and all of a sudden, God just started showing me images. Images started flashing, bro, in front of me. It was like a collage of different images about like how black people, how we killing each other over nothing, poisoning each other with drugs, killing each other over nothing. God was showing us how, us as black people, we are God's true people. We are the people the Bible speaks about, the Israelites in the Bible, the people of melanin, people of color. We are God's chosen people. That's why we run fast. We jump high. That's why we the smartest. That's why we the first human beings on earth. You know what I'm saying? That's why I ain't gonna say that though, but yeah. But that's why. So God was showing us, like He was showing us Dr. King getting assassinated, John F. K. getting assassinated, Abraham Lincoln getting assassinated. He was showing how the devil ruined, how the devil was trying to reverse everything that God created. You know what I'm saying? To destroy the earth. Everything that God tried to, you know what I'm saying? Every plan that God had for the earth, everything that God had aligned, how the devil was trying to reverse it. And so He's showing me all these things. He also showed me how the devil was using me, and I didn't even know it, bro. He didn't even know I'm doing everything, like I'm living my life in a way that's completely opposite of the way that God wanted us to live it. So He's showing me all these things, bro, and then I started crying, bro. And anybody that know me, bro, I don't cry for anything. I done been to funerals. I don't cry. I'm not a nigga that just cry like that. But to this day, tears is pouring down my shit like a faucet, bro. Uncontrollable tears. And so through all this, I'm fucked up now. I'm driving, bro. And so I'm on my way to my homie house now. But before I get there, I ask God, I say, God, I just had one question for God, bro. I say, why did you show me this? Like, why did you show me this? And I kid you not, bro. It wasn't like how it is portrayed in the movies, like a big deep voice, like, oh, I am God, woo woo. But it was like the wind had blew the words in my mind, and it said, because they will listen. I swear to God, bro. Because they will listen. And tears started pouring down some more. Uncontrollable tears, bro. So I get to my homie crib, and I'm fucked up. Bro. I get to my homie crib, he like, my nigga Lero, like, he like, bro, what just happened, bro? He think a nigga jumped on me or some shit. He like, bro, what just happened, bro? You good, bro? What happened? I'm like, nah, bro, it ain't that, bro. It ain't that. So I sit Lero down there, and I explained to him what God showed me, bro. And I told him everything that I had just experienced. And now Lero, he in there crying. We both in there crying, bro, teared up. My other nigga Rob come home, the one who my book is about, that I published a book about. He come home. I explained to him what happened. Now he crying, and now my third eye is open, and so now I can see the spirit in him. I can see the spirit in people now. My third eye's open, so I'm telling Rob things about him that I ain't never said before, bro. I'm telling him things about him he didn't even know about. And so, because now my eyes open, I see the spirit in him. I see the beauty in him now. I see that he's really a child of God. I see the beauty in him, so I'm breaking it down to him, and now he crying. And so the next day, right, my nigga Lero had me laughing. He like, bro, we talked about everything that happened the day before. Lero was like, bro, and I was saying so many things at the table, bro. I didn't know where it was coming from, bro, but it was just coming from God. It was just things were just spilling out of me. Y'all was talking, things were just spilling out of me. So the next day we talking about it. Lero was like, bro, you spooked me yesterday, bro. He like, bro, you spooked me, bro. It's like God was talking out of you or something. And that's exactly that what happened, bro. And ever since that day, bro, I kid you not, ever since that day, I just had infinite wisdom, bro. I just had it just like anything. I just had wisdom to the point. I had something to say about anything, bro. Like anything we talk about, I just have a knowledge of. I just have a wisdom over. It was like overnight, and to the point where, and the Bible talks about the burning of the Holy Spirit. When you feel the Holy Spirit inside of you, bro, it's a real thing. I felt it. I'm not feeling it as I was as today as I was back then when God was when I first came into the light. But back then, bro, that's the Holy Spirit getting inside you, bro. It's like you can't even eat. You can't even sit down. It's like you don't even have no craving. You don't even have no appetite. The Holy Spirit was burning in me so bad, bro. I wouldn't even eat, bro. I was still even trying to smoke. I would smoke, bro. I wouldn't even get high. I bullshit you not. I was just regular. Like I just had this aura about me, bro. This feeling, and it was this desire to just tell everybody. And since that day, I just had a desire to just tell everybody what I experienced, what God showed me, and what God has instilled in me. And that's what I've been doing, bro. God has used me to change other people's life. God, I done spoke to different people to start crying, bro. And even to this day, I got some people years later, like, bro, like I got this one female, Rakisha. She every time she see me, it's been years, bro. Every time she see me, she thank me so much for telling her what I told her because that changed her life. That brought her closer to God. Because I told her my story, she cried and she cried and she cried, and she thanked me years later. She still thanked me like, thank you for telling me that story. And that's what, and that's all I've been doing, bro. That's my whole purpose of just telling people what God showed me. That's my whole purpose of telling people what God showed me and bringing people back to God and letting people know, like, we as black people, we are God's chosen people. And it's so crazy to see the state that we in today, how we kill each other over nothing, how we destroy each other over nothing.
It's bad.
We as bad, bro.
Bad
and we as God's chosen people, but yeah, we the furthest away from God. And it's funny because I don't want to be on a relationship, but it's funny because if you look at white people are the most atheists. If you look at all the atheists, white people are the most atheists because they are not God's chosen people. It just is what it
they're
is.
the most. I feel like they're the most Christian though, man. I feel like they're the most Christian though. If you ask
No,
me.
But
to go back to what you said though, because I think that was real interesting what you said, and that was real powerful too. But I think you're right. I think you are chosen to relay a certain message, but I don't think it's in the way that you think that it is. I don't think that God is speaking through you in the way that you thinking that it was. I don't think that it was necessarily a spiritual. I mean, not necessarily. I think that it was more of a spiritual conscious awakening, more so of a religious one, the experience that you had. I think that's more of a spiritual thing, and I would encourage you to look into the spiritual side of it more too. But it was interesting that, and then because we got to get the name of the book too for the people so they can go check out your book too. But it's funny that you mentioned you mentioned the book about the one guy after the documentary that you watched, because most people when they in a religious bag and they study the religion, and they especially Christianity, they tend to go with the King James version of the Bible. Then when you go do your research and you dive into King James and actually who he was and the shit that he did, and it's like, this is the person that you talking about, this King James, the same King James was like, first we ain't gonna even talk about his perversion side. We just gonna talk about the other shit that he did that most people don't even know about. Yeah, he was gay, he did all this other perverted shit, but he had his own mother killed.
He practiced witchcraft too.
The man wrote a book about necromancy, witchcraft, and demons and demonology.
I
The
know.
same nigga
The only purpose.
who commissioned the Bible to be wrote
I
was
know,
a
but the only purpose though,
demonologist.
the only purpose of King James was because he was a scholar. He was a scholar and he was a writer, bro. He was a talented writer. So his only purpose was to help because it was a lot of different mistranslations of the Bible and people had discrepancies with the translation. So his only purpose of the Bible was to translate it the word for word the best he could because he was a talented scholar, a talented writer in theology. He did
But
study
what's the
theology, bro.
but what's the proof behind that though? Because when you researching, you got to go to the social. You got to go to the social side of it too. You got to go to the person's character and what kind of character that they was too. Was he a person that was just trying to do the right thing and spread the right message? A person that colluded with his auntie to get his own mother killed? That's the person you think that got everybody best nature and got everybody best mind at heart and want to just do the right thing? A person who got his own mother beheaded in front of a bunch of people, and a person who was sneaking around, sleeping with men behind people's back and
But see, it's the
studying
difference
and
though, bro.
worshiping demonology and necromancy and witchcraft. Like that's the nigga who we supposed to be listening to when
But
it
I'm
comes
saying,
to
but
the
he
translation.
but he never portrayed to be a holy man or a man of God. He never portrayed that. He
But
never
still,
so
though,
he never
it's
portrayed
about
it.
it's about context though. Would you listen to a broke homeless person about stock tips, about stock market and trading? You see what I'm saying? Like, why would I listen to a confessed demonologist necromancer about spirituality? I feel like that's a kind. I ain't like no like not saying you can't learn because you can learn something from the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
what I'm
like
saying.
you gotta
My point.
know your personnel. I'm not taking no information from a crackhead homeless person with no money about stock options and real estate and finance.
But the same, but at the same time, bro, a crackhead, a homie, the nigga could be smart. He could be white. He can know what
You
he's talking
can,
about.
you can, you
That's what
can,
I'm saying, bro.
you can,
It just
but
depends, bro. But
you
I hear
gotta
your
take
point
it with
though.
a grain of salt. You
Yeah, you
gotta
gotta take
take
it
it
with a
with a
grain of
grain of
salt.
salt.
For sure. Gotta take it with a grain of salt. I hear you. I hear
But I
you.
also
So,
wanted to talk about finish what we talking about. We was talking about the contradictions of slavery in the Bible because a big thing about it's like the post had said, like black people hate everything about slavery except Christianity. And it's like, why haven't we came to that realization that Christianity condones slavery? It's several scriptures in the Bible that explicitly condone slavery, how much to sell a person for, who to sell them to, how much they worth, and how to discipline them if they get out of line. So how can a person align themselves that's descendants of slaves? How can they align themselves with a religion that supports slavery?
but at the same time, but like I said, when you're reading the Bible, bro, you have to read it in context too, though. Because like I
Yeah.
said before, a lot of times when the Bible is referring to slaves, they mostly referring to servants, bro. Because that was a thing back then. People
Mhm.
had servants. People had people that served them. And also, in order to pay a debt, a lot of people will become your servant or your slave
Mhm.
in order to pay off that debt. And the Bible even speaks on a slave only being there for 6 years, then he can be free. So it's not like the slavery that basically what I'm trying to say is the slavery that they was talking about in the Bible is not the
Mhm.
slavery that we went through. You know what I'm saying today in America. It's not the same, bro.
Okay, so let me ask you
You
this
got to
then. So
understand.
We could just go, we could just like hop right
Okay,
into, we
you
could
want to
just
pull up
go
a
back
scripture or something?
to the actual scripture and say
Okay, which
Exodus
one?
21:20. It say,
Yes, sir.
and a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod,
Mm-hmm.
and he die under his hand, shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. Translation,
Mm-hmm.
it even got the contextual translation right here. It says, meaning, if a master kills the slaves immediately from beating, he faces punishment. But if the slave
Right.
survives a day or two, the master is not punished because the slave was considered his property. What
Mm-hmm.
about that is not contradictory for a slave to be supporting that type of religion with that type of ideology ingrained in the actual scripture? Because that's what that's saying. That's saying if I own a motherfucker and I beat them half to death and they die that day, then it's cool. God say it's cool. Don't worry about it. You pay for that. That's your bag. But if the nigga die,
No. It said the
if he
opposite.
don't die,
It said if he died that
it's my
day.
bad. If he died that day, then you in trouble. But if I beat a motherfucker
Yeah.
half to death and he die in 3 days, no harm, no foul. How is that? How can a person that's a descendant of a slave support a religion that pushes that type of ideology, bro? That's super contradictory, is it not?
No, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, those are
Because I get what you're saying, that the Bible
yeah,
portrays slaves in the Bible as indentured servitude. It wasn't the slavery
yeah.
of the transatlantic slave. I get that, but they still obviously were beating slaves half to death. Obviously, even if it wasn't to the condition of what they was doing to the black slave during the transatlantic slave trade, the fact that it's in here that you can beat a slave means that even indentured servitude was getting their ass beat half to death, at least in some cases, at least often enough for them to want to put it in the Bible. So I'm saying, how is
Yeah,
that?
but if you look further, if you go further and back into that same chapter, it's basically speaking about if your servant does something bad, like if he steals or if he does some kind of transgression upon you, bro.
You can beat them to death.
It's teaching you how to handle it. It's teaching you how to handle it.
But that's my point, though. Why would God condone if your servant's stealing from you, you could beat that motherfucker half to death? Like, why would God condone that, though? All loving, all omnipotent, omnipresent God. Why would he condone that? It's cool. If he steal from you, bro, you can bash his fucking head in. If he die, though, I'm gonna fuck you up. But if he die in 2 days,
it never said bash his head in, bro.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, why would...
But at the end of the day, those was the times back then, bro. Those was the times. That's how they was good.
But they also say the Bible wasn't the Bible. They say the Bible is not written for a specific time. It's meant to encompass all of time. That's what they say.
That's mostly the New Testament. That's most of the New Testament. We looking at the Old Testament. The New Testament is supposed to be all for all times. It never gets old. It can either in the today or the older days. This is the really New Testament. The Old Testament, a lot of those stuff that happened in the Old Testament, we don't operate like that in the real today, bro. That's the Old Testament. The New Testament, yes, but what we're looking at is the Old Testament, bro. That's how the world was operating at that time. So I mean.
But that's what the whole basis of the religion is, though. That's the whole basis of the religion, though, is it not? The Old Testament? Ain't that what the basis of the Christianity come from?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the whole religion, bro. It's part of it, of course.
Not a religion of Christianity, is what I'm saying.
It is the foundation of it. It is the foundation of it for sure. But the Old Testament is before Jesus came. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so this is the different times that we speaking about in the Old Testament. They was conducting things differently, and so that's the way it was.
But the times is different, though, bro. But is God different? Because God's still relaying that same. It's still a message that God relayed, even if the books and the times have changed. It's still something that God was cool with at a point in time. And my question is, why support a God who's all powerful, all omnipotent, all omnipresent at any point in time if he supported enslaving and beating people? Why would we be subjugated to get behind something like that? Like if a person, and then excuse me, because we're going on YouTube, so excuse me, we're gonna say grape. If a person ever graped somebody, like even if you change your mind and be good from then on and forward, you still like, I still can't necessarily rock with you because that's how you thought at any point in time that was cool. I can't rock with you because you thought that was cool. So it's like the times have changed. I get that. But has God changed? And if so, why would God change? I thought he was a perfect being. God can change. So if he's changing, that means he's not perfect, right?
I mean, at the end of the
questions I got.
I mean, yeah, no, don't valid questions, bro. Don't valid questions. I definitely can say that God is of the Old Testament is definitely not the God of the New Testament. I mean,
so it's two different gods and everything. Now we split them up again. Oh man.
I'm just saying though, bro. But at the end of the day, though, bro, as human beings, bro, we can never fully understand. If we talking about God in the aspect of which we talking about, we can never fully understand why God does the way he does what he does and do the things he do.
But that's not true though, bro. Okay, so for that to be true though, bro, you would have to display and show where that occurs in nature, because universal law dictates, like we just said earlier, as above, so below, as within, so without. What's done on the macro is also done on the micro. So you would have to show cases and instances of proof where something is so complex that it's beyond human comprehension. You will have to show what that's exemplified in the physical form for that to be the case in the metaphysical form, because it's universal mirror. So where else in nature does it occur where something is beyond, so complex that man can't beyond to grasp the concept of it? Where else is that exemplified in the world?
Space, for example. Space. Look at space. Look how humans and astronauts and scientists trying to figure out space, bro. To this day, they
You
keep
think they don't got?
changing.
You think they don't got space figured out, bro? They got space figured
Hell
out.
no.
Bro,
Hell the
they
fuck
feeding
no.
us
Bro,
lies about.
bro.
You think that they don't know that they can't go into outer space for real, bro? You think they honestly think that they can really go out there for real? They know they can't fucking go all the way out there for real, bro. They feeding us lies to keep a narrative painted. They know that they cannot physically exit the outer Van Allen radiation belt. They can't go a few feet low orbit, a few hundred, maybe 16 miles off the Earth's surface, which is not outer space. It's just low orbit. They know that. Most people don't know that, but they know that themselves, the people who constructed the lie, the narrative that they can't go to outer space and they can never go to Mars. They know that shit, bro. They just feeding a narrative.
My point, though. Yeah, but that's my point, though. You see how they try to, though, right? They try to. They try to tell you.
But they know, though, bro. They know. They comprehend that. They just telling you lies. You said that man can't comprehend it. They comprehend that just fine. They understand that just fine. They just telling you a lie. Them lying to us and them not knowing the truth ain't the same thing. They know that. That's the fact that they can't do that. They just telling us a lie in the narrative so we can believe a certain narrative, bro. But they know
not
for
just,
a fact.
I know, but I'm saying, but not just getting out to outer space. I'm just talking about like the stuff that's in space that they study. Because for example, they'd be like, oh yeah, we discovered a planet that's 2.2 million light years away. Oh, it's been existing for 100,000 billion years or whatever. They just come up with anything. And they try to understand. They try to understand.
No, they're not trying to understand it, bro. They that's what I'm trying to get you to understand, bro. They not trying to understand it. They trying to reinforce the lie by giving you that knowledge, bro. They ain't trying to understand that shit. They know what it is and what it ain't already, bro. They know at the root of it because they crafted this world and manipulated this world into their image. That's why they are on top. They know the truth behind it. They just giving you that shit to try to beef up the lie, to make the lie sound more profound and just to overwhelm you with so much information that you be like, well, okay, we believe it. All right, cool. That's what they try to do. They know it though, bro. They know that you can't go out there and do all that wild shit out there.
I know, but at the end of the day, we all know as a space exists. We all know as planets and asteroids and all type of shit, stars and all that shit is up there, right? We all know that. But can any one person say they know space completely through in and throughout? Everything that's going on up there, all the planets, if there's any other life form or anything like that up there, no one man can say for a definite answer that, oh, this is where it's at. That's what I'm saying.
Then I would encourage you. Then I would encourage you again, bro, to research actual spirituality, research astrology, and research astrology. And what's the other one? Astrology, and I forget the other one. But you got to research that shit, bro. They do know, bro. The information is out there. It's just hid and kept from you as a distraction. But it's people that's been studying the stars, studying astrology, studying the planets for thousands of millennia, bro. Even the ancient Sumerians, they finding sites right now it's the site in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe, where they had these pillars that were buried thousands of feet below the Earth's surface, bro, for thousands of years, bro. When they carbon dated, it carbon dates back to the time of the Sumerians, which is the first known proven civilization of people in the world. When they dug up these people's this shit, because it was a time capsule that they buried. When they dug it up, it got depictions of stars and suns all on that shit, bro. All on the tablet. The telescope wasn't even invented, I believe, until the 1400s. So how would a people that's 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years old have knowledge of a star system and telescopes wasn't even invented for another 4,000 or 5,000 years? So the knowledge is there, bro. It's just kept from the general masses on purpose. But if you just take the time to go research that shit and figure out what the stars and the universe actually is and stop looking at it through a certain lens, because they give you this perception to look at it through a certain lens of, okay, you can travel to this planet and do all this, but that's not necessarily the case. If you actually study astrology and the stars and spirituality and how the universe actually worked and how it was conceptually put into existence, it explains all that shit to you, bro, for sure.
Even if we don't talk about space, even if we talk about spirit in the basic aspect, no one man can say they fully understand what a spirit is and how it operates, bro. Because no man,
yes, they can,
no one man
bro.
Spirit.
I just broke it down to you, bro. That everybody got spirit. I just broke that down to you, and I backed it up by how science proves that everybody has spirit,
but that's
and then how the spirit and the soul are two different.
That's just a theory.
That ain't no theory. It's a fact.
No
You said
one man
what?
created a spirit, bro. No one man created a spirit, so it's no one man that can say for a definite fact how a spirit operates. No one man created a spirit. A
So
man can
because you didn't,
only can give you a definite answer of something he created. If a
so
man
so
created, then he
so
can
a
give you a
man.
definite answer.
But I would have to disagree with that. Just because you don't create something, don't mean you can't give a definite explanation for something. I didn't create this phone, but I can give you a definite
But someone did.
breakdown of the
A
phone,
man
though.
did. One man did. Maybe you're not the man who created,
Somebody
but a
did
man
create
did.
spirit, though.
Yeah,
Somebody did create
that
spirit.
person can tell you definite answer of
It's not a
how it
person that
operates.
created it, though. It's not a person. So that's how science works, though, bro. When you come up with a hypothesis, it has to be proven by basically a set of averages in order for it to become an actual science-based theory that could be peer-reviewed by your peers. So you have to have information and facts to study and to back the claim or the theory that you're making. So it's been proven, like I said, that everything is energy. Like that's a scientific level. It's been proven that. It's been proven that spirit is what gives you your vitality. It's what animates the body. It's how we able
Yeah,
to move and
we know
talk and
that.
have basic animal entry. So that's been scientifically proven. So you can prove that spirit is a certain thing, and you can prove soul and
But
consciousness is another thing.
yeah, we know it only proves that spirit is an energy, but it doesn't prove how it came to be and where it goes after it leaves the body. Those two things a
Science
human
do,
being
bro.
cannot. No, it doesn't,
Science
bro.
do, bro.
Tell me.
you gotta you
How?
gotta
You just
study it,
speaking about
bro.
it as an energy, though, bro. You just speaking about it
Yeah,
as an energy, how it
that's what I'm
functions.
saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't say how it came to be. It
It
doesn't. It
tell
doesn't. It doesn't. Nothing in science shows you how the spirit forms or where it
it's
goes when it
because you
leaves the
have
body.
the
Nothing.
it's it's because you have the perception that you have, bro. You think that life work a certain way and it don't necessarily work that way, bro. When you life the life that you live in now is your consciousness being projected from the mental. Like you're not this physical body. You're not in this physical body. You animate this physical body. So the energy leaving and the spirit leaving and how the energy disappears is completely different from how your consciousness animates and control this avatar. You not inside of your body, Tio. You're not of this body. This body works as the brain works as a computer processor and a projector. You project consciousness onto the brain, and then the brain in turn sends electrical signals to the nervous system, and the nervous system animates the body, bro. You are not directly inside of this body. It's consciousness, and science proves that. Have you heard of the observer effect or the double slit experiment?
No, I haven't.
Let me break it down to you. So scientists, what they did was they took light and they shot it through these two metal slits. They set up a reader on the back wall where they can measure the light, right? So as they observed the light being shot through the two metal slits, when they seen it register on the measuring machine on the wall, it registered as a light particle, right? And then when they conducted another experiment, they wasn't directly observing it. They didn't have no cameras on it. They didn't have no eyes on it. So when when the light was shot through the metal slits and it registered on the reading machine, it registered as a wavelength. So what they concluded from that study was you are directly in control of the reality in the universe around you. It don't even come into existence until consciousness or awareness acknowledges the energy. It's a wavelength exists on all frequencies and all waveforms. The spiritual realm, the mental realm, wavelengths is multidimensional. So before the light is observed by humans or by consciousness, it registers as a wavelength. As soon as consciousness is applied to the light, it registers as a particle. So that shows you that you are directly in control of the energies around you. You directly manipulate the universe around you. And
But
what that
okay.
indirectly shows is that you ain't really here. Your consciousness is what's controlling this shit. It's projecting that. You not actually of this flesh, bro. It's two different
So
things.
how does that explain how the spirit forms into the body, bro, at birth or whatever? How does
Because
that explain that though, bro? It doesn't explain it.
it explains it based off the, like I said, the energy part of it. Everything comes in existence through energy and vibration and frequency. That's why certain
So
frequencies.
spirit come. Oh,
You said what?
go ahead. Go, motherfucker. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying what you said. So
Go ahead.
spirit say what?
No, so through this energy, I mean, we understand the energy part, bro. I didn't disagree with you none about the energy part, but so I just need clarification on how science can prove or says that through conception the spirit enters the body of that organism, bro.
The
Within
spirit
a woman's
don't
body.
enter
When does the spirit enter?
the spirit. Well, you said when does the spirit or the soul enters the body?
Well, we know when.
In the
We
womb.
know when, but how? How does it form? How does the
How does the
spirit
soul
enter the
form
body?
or the spirit? That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You asked the two different questions. The
Well, okay,
spirit
okay.
is what makes
I
up.
forgot you-
The
I
spirit
forgot you
is
said that
life
there's two
force.
different
Yeah, the spirit is the life force. The soul,
Okay, the soul.
enters it enters the body through the womb, through the mother, after the life review process, after they've passed away. They go through the reincarnation process, the different stages. They meant to confront certain things, certain aspects of their life. And if they able to detach and to let go and to not feel restraint and not to feel guilt and not to have regrets and not want to linger on this specific plane, they're able to move on to the life review process. During the life review process, you sit back and you showing yourself, you reviewing everything that happened in your life. You are meant to feel all the great things you made other people feel and yourself, but you also meant to feel all the negative and bad things that you did to other people and you did to yourself. And if that regret and that guilt is too much to bear, the soul automatically longs to start over again. And from that process, you automatically jump right back into the womb, right back into the reincarnation process, start a life over again. But if you're able to detach, if you're able to move on and have no regrets, and have no extra baggage, the soul can move on, and the soul could choose to come back and live life again with all this foreknowledge of his past life, because we all have past lives, been here thousands and countless of times. But when you choose to come back after you basically pass the test, you're able to retain knowledge of your past lives and able to become a figure like Jesus was supposed to be, like another figure in Japan named Amaterasu. She was supposed to be an enlightened reincarnated figure. Buddha was another example of a reincarnated enlightened figure. So once you reach a certain plateau, you're able to come back by choice or choose to move on to the next frequency and to the next vibration. That's specific.
Bro, that's not proven. That's not proven definite fact. That's perception. That's
saying,
how you think it to be. That's how you understand it. That's
what I'm saying. If you go research it, then science will back the spiritual part. How the energy enters the womb. How the egg lights up and receives that energy once the insemination happens. Like, that's all spiritual energy coming inside the fertilization. The whole fertilization egg process is spiritual energy beginning to create and curate the egg. That's all science.
But that's man interpreting what they believe and how the energy is formed in the body. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't interpretation, bro. It's an observation. An interpretation and an observation is two different things. If we literally looking at the egg through an X-ray and we see the sperm inseminated and then the egg just lights up with a bright light, that's not an interpretation. That's an observation. And
but the thing is,
that's energy coming in there. That ain't a.
But I'm glad you said that though. But the same thing happened in the animal womb. But you said the animals don't have no soul. So explain that to me, bro.
The same thing.
But how the same thing occurs in the animal womb, just like the human being womb. But you say one has a soul and one doesn't. So what is this? What is the source? What is the source then, bro? Science cannot
what, the animals don't have souls?
Yeah. What is the source of a human being soul? What is the source of a human being soul? If the same thing occurs in an animal womb, and the animal does not have a soul, but a human has a soul, what is the source then, bro?
The source is consciousness and awareness.
It starts.
Yeah.
You said what?
The source is consciousness and awareness, though, bro. That's what it is. It's two different things. Like I said, the animals aren't aware or conscious that they are aware. Otherwise, like I said, they'll be going to grave sites, giving prayers, giving Hail Marys, bowing their head and praying. Or they'll sit back and contemplate real consciousness and awareness. They don't contemplate consciousness or awareness based off of their actions. Like I said, everything has to be observed and exemplified. Based off their actions, you can tell that they don't observe consciousness and awareness. Based off human reaction, based off how we act, you can tell that we observe consciousness and awareness. So it's all about the observation, what can be seen, what can be touched, what's tangible, and what can be proven. That's what it's about.
I mean, but let's be real though. At the time of conception, whether human or non-human, none of it has awareness or consciousness at that point yet. Anyway, it doesn't. None of it. At the end of the day, it's just an energy, bro.
But you can't necessarily prove that if you have a consciousness at conception, though. Yeah, it is. It is an energy that's just forming until a soul is put into that. Yeah, until a soul is put into that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
And so, at what point does the soul get put into that? At the birth?
At
or
a
what?
point during not after birth, doing at a point during the doing the birthing process. Like maybe I don't know, maybe it's a couple months. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's the immediate conception. I know that's when spirit is added, but the soul might be added maybe 2 months. Maybe
Okay.
when the brain starts.
So let me try to understand.
Maybe when the brain starts to develop, I think because you would need to project consciousness onto the brain. So I'm pretty sure it'll be at a point where the brain starts to develop at a higher rate is when the soul will be put into the womb, I would say.
Exactly. And so, but what you just saying, right? But can we say that's a definite fact, or is that your perception, or what your theory of what can happen, bro, or what happens when the soul enters? Because that's none of that is proven. That's my point, bro. And that's what I was saying back a minute ago. It is proven
if you go back and research it, though, bro.
You just said you think.
I ain't saying I think. I'm telling you what it is. I'm saying
it probably happens. You said
no. I was telling you what I think as far as. I was saying I think as far as when it happens, not that it happens at all. I know it happens based off of the research that I've done, but exactly when it happens, I don't know necessarily that part because, you know what I'm saying, that's up to, you know what I'm saying, that could depend on a bunch of different stipulations and a bunch of different circumstances when it actually happened. But the fact that it happens, I don't think it's debatable at all.
So just to clarify, in both human and non-human beings, when at conception, a spirit is initiated. The spirit is there. The spirit is initiated.
Energy, life force.
At some point of development, when the brain is developing, then that's when the awareness and the consciousness starts. So that's when the soul enters in the body. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%.
And you telling me right there that statement I just said, you telling me that's a definite documented fact that it can be proven by science.
Yes, science, not just science, spirituality is what I'm saying. Spirituality too. Science don't do nothing but explain spirituality in the physical form and the metaphysical form too, depending on if you research quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Science is just the explanation of it, but spirituality is what the information is and what you have to go actively actually research. What they thought before religion, what they thought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands. Some people claim it's even millions of years. Science don't prove that, but some people claim even millions of years ago. What was they doing hundreds of thousands of years ago? Did they have it wrong? How do we know that they have it right now? Who's to say that they had it wrong and they had it right? Who's to know? So you got to go do as much research as you do on one, you have to do for the other, and then you can make the best interpretation of which one you want to go with the best. But from my personal research and my personal understanding, when I go research the old shit that people have been doing for counting millennia, it's always backed up and supported by science. When I go try to research the new shit, it contradicts it on every turn, on every aspect. It contradicts it.
And so let me ask you, just so I can get clarification. And so are we in agreement? So you saying that we already know that spirit is energy. So are you also saying that soul is also energy?
Yeah, because everything is energy, but it's a different type of energy, different types of energy.
And so are the spirit and the soul, are they coming from the same source?
Are they coming from the same source?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And just for clarification, the source being the spirit. So the spirit and the soul, you saying come from the same source. You saying they two different things. They come from the same source. And just for the people, just for the viewers, what is the source of the spirit and the soul?
It's the divine energy, the divine God energy. Just like how electricity and magnetism come from the same source, but they're two different things. It's the same case. The spirit, which is electricity, comes from magnetism, which would be the soul. The soul is the magnet, and electricity is the spirit, the energy, the life force. So just like those two things are derived and come from a same energetic source, but they are completely two different things. So it's the same thing, bro.
So do you believe in dark matter, dark energy?
I researched it, but I don't know how I feel about it though. I researched it a little bit,
because that's what a lot of scientists are saying that everything formed from. Yeah. They saying that the whole universe has formed from dark energy. That's what scientists believe. Yeah. You have different scientists that say different things.
Yeah, they do though. It depends on your perspective.
Some people say you got some scientists that say everything evolved. You got some scientists that say everything evolved from a single cell organism. Yeah. This is science. This is the science that you're talking about.
That's not the science I'm talking about.
But
That shit is completely wrong. That ain't what I'm talking about. You won't catch me defending no single cell organisms, no Big Bang theory, we evolved
yeah.
from monkeys. You won't see me supporting none of that shit because all those are
Okay, cool.
theories.
Okay,
They haven't
cool.
been
I'm
proven at
glad.
all.
I'm glad. But what I'm saying is, these are people who talk about science as being the source of everything, the being the creator of everything. Because
Right.
you have some scientists that believe that everything that's here on Earth today evolved or was created from a single cell organism, and I think that's one
Yeah.
of the ridiculous things I ever heard. Because in
No, I agree.
philosophy, you got something what they call the argument of design. That says that everything is created with such a unique style, such in a unique way, with different genes, DNA, everything, that it has to be a creator.
Yeah.
Everything cannot just form from one single cell organism. That wouldn't even make any sense.
I
You know
agree.
what I'm saying?
I agree
Because if
1,000%
that
with
was
that.
the case, because if that was the case, if everything was created from a single cell organism, we all had the same DNA, we
Yep.
all looked the same, we all that. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So it doesn't make sense, but that's why I don't go off science, because science is open for interpretation, is always theories, and they always changing constantly. That's why you have
No.
some scientists that be like, "Oh yeah, we thought this way 20 years ago, but now we discovered we was wrong. Now we think this way." That's why science is nothing but human beings trying to figure out the best way they can. But
Yeah, that's why I don't do the theories though, bro. I just go back
yeah.
proven science that's thousands and millennia years old. I really don't necessarily like to dive into theories because it could get real messy, and it's a lot of, like you said,
Yeah.
people putting their own perception on and interpretation on different shit, man. But we gonna have to wrap it up though, T. I know we was getting into it,
Yeah.
and we was having a good one, man. We
Hey,
definitely gonna have to have you
so-
back on, big dog. We definitely
so,
on some good shit I think about, man. We definitely had a powerful, enlightening conversation, man. So we
did.
gonna have to get you back
We did.
on.
Ain't
man.
no
We
real
gonna have to
shit.
chop up some more shit though, man.
For sure, man. Hey,
You
real shit. I
want to tell
appreciate you
people where they
having
can
me,
find the
bro.
book at too? Because you said you had the book. You want to tell me where they can find the book?
Yeah,
Where they can look
absolutely,
your info
man.
up at?
The book is called 10 Days, The Rob G Story. You can find it on Amazon Books. You know what I'm saying? It's on there for $11.11. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about the money. That's just it's a part of the story. That's the reason why I charge $11.11. But the story, the money, I'll get it out for free if I could. But at the end of the day, you know, we in America, ain't nothing free.
Yeah.
So it costs to make these books. You feel me? So I'm just trying to keep it going, bro.
You gotta get you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it going, bro. If it was up to me, I'd give all the books out for free, bro. And if you want one, bro, if you would read it, I'll give you one for free, bro, just so you can just take a look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but if
I'm
not,
read it, man.
I mean, shit. But if not, just let me know, bro. It's all good. It's all love. But if you would read it, bro, on some real shit, I'll send you one for free, bro, just so you can check it out. That way you can just get a better understanding of who I am.
Yeah,
You say what?
for sure. No, I'm definitely you got to send it to me, bro. I definitely gonna read it. We'll figure out the shipping and shit, but we definitely, I'm definitely gonna need that for you because I'm gonna definitely check it out, though, man. But again, I want to thank my special guest T.O. for joining us today, man. Like I said, we had a powerful, enlightening conversation, man. We got to have more discussions like this, more positive discussions where we have different ideas and different ideologies where we could come together and have positive dialogue, man, and just exchange different ideas and grow from the conversation. So again, I want to thank my special guest. Please, guys, go like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, man. Until next time, peace. Y'all have a good night.